Babies pooping in a mega head.
That's our new intro to every episode going forward. Babies pooping in a mega head. Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 67 of the Discussion 5.
Two more!
We're 2 away, right. We've got to do one more shitty episode, and then the one episode all podcasts strive to make it to is on its way. Mike, we are the Brothers of Discussion. We come to you every Monday as hosts of the Discussion 5, which is, we give you the 5 most pressing matters for your Detroit Red Wings. Obviously not much going on right now, so we've been doing some research on drafts and whatnot. So if you're a long-time listener to the show, we're going to be hitting up the 2007 draft today. But we also come to you on Thursdays as the Brothers of Discussion for pro wrestling, so we highly recommend you check out bodpodcast.com and brothersofdiscussion.com if you are looking for some wrestling coverage. We are also at BOD Hockey on Twitter for this show, at BOD Podcast for the pro wrestling show, and we have a joint Instagram account that is at brothers_of_discussion. We have our brand new YouTube channel that hosts both shows. As we move along through this and I get more and more time each week, I've been putting up some pretty sweet graphics for those shows. So
looks pretty good.
Hopefully they're more interesting to listen to when you've got some bright, flashy things bouncing around in your face. So check that out on YouTube, again, listed as the Brothers of Discussion. Give us a subscribe there. Greatly appreciate it. And obviously, the subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, even if you're not listening on Apple Podcasts, for both of those shows, does us the most good. So we greatly appreciate anybody that's done that. Man, yeah. Mike, I am just realizing how not ready I was to talk. Addie's
I like all your work, all the razzle-dazzle, because now it's a lot like we're Macho Man with our grandstanding and hot dogging and showboating Hulk Hogan. So now we're out there grandstanding, hot dogging, and showboating. That was a terrible Macho Man. But it was all his favorite phrases there when he was mad at the other half of the Mega Powers.
Everybody's on board. They knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Addie has been, she's been struggling to sleep because she's been sick. The fever was gone yesterday, or at least like halfway through the day, no more fever. But, and she's had a fever for the last few days. And if you listen to the Brothers of Discussion wrestling show, everybody should know that somebody was blowing in her face and we were making jokes about her getting
ordinarily
sick.
It's weird,
right?
Now,
yeah,
it's like almost a criminal act that should not be allowed to happen.
But yeah, it's it's been 2 straight days of her waking up at midnight and crying and not sleeping for about 3 to 4 hours. It was yesterday that my wife and I are trading, and I actually was on the couch from 2 to 5, just hanging out with her. Oh, man, being a parent. Oh, boy. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. We're also coming to you thanks to the Hockey Podcast Network. You heard at the top of the show, which, you know what, since we do that, just make sure you check out the hockeypodcastnetwork.com and at hockeypodnet for other cool shows. And you know what? I think we also had we've got a new ad that's running for the Fourth Line Voice, so that you guys also heard that at the top of the show. So highly recommend everything on the Hockey Podcast Network. And if you do bounce around on Twitter, some always great conversations happening between all the shows that I really enjoy. All right, so let's Mike, it's official. The Seattle Kraken.
Yes.
If you hated it,
yes.
God damn, did you hate that name? There are some rival podcasts and shows that I love listening to that, goddamn, did they spend an hour just whining and moaning about the Kraken.
I am a co-host of the Discussion 5 Red Wing podcast, but I can't tell you how excited I am to buy Seattle Kraken a jersey. I want all the swag. I love that it's a giant sea creature, like a very subtle sea creature coming out of the sea.
Absolutely.
logo that's an anchor, but also kind of the Space Needle. There's some marketing wizards over in Seattle who put up some mad hours in the laboratory coming up with that stuff because it looks wonderful. We give the NHL a lot of grief compared to the other sports in terms of marketability, getting on TV, increasing fan interest. But one spot that they don't have an issue, I will say, is naming teams. Okay? Just recent, kind of recent history. All right, we'll look at Columbus, the Blue Jackets. Boom, they picked somebody like in Columbus. They had a lot of Union heroes for the Civil War, so they wanted to honor some American history, so they're the fucking Blue Jackets. Wow! The Golden Knights, right? Nevada is one of the biggest gold producers. It's the biggest in the United States, one of the, bigger ones in the world. So let's throw some gold on there, and then it's a tribute to a military academy, the Black Knights. So they couldn't do the Black Knights, so they did, we'll throw some gold in there. We'll kind of match those two things. Beautiful. Yeah. And Seattle said, we're the Kraken, the legendary sea creature coming out of the Pacific Northwest Ocean. It's what Seattle and Washington, just scary deep water, and now they have a mythical beast to come and destroy us. And man,
coming over from Scandinavian waters.
I can't wait for the Red Wings are famous for the octopus. So now we can have the octopus versus the Kraken. It just writes itself. I can't wait. And just comparatively, looking at other sports, just 100% failures with the NHL. I really like these recent examples. Like baseball had the Washington Nationals.
Well, and that's the thing. One of the names that people really wanted to see was the Metropolitans. Oh my God! When you talk about boring, fucking doesn't do anything for me names.
We have the New York Mets. We already have that name. You're not going to copy a name and it sucks.
There's also the current NHL division is called. There's the Metropolitan Division, so it's just. And you know what? That's fine.
The Seattle Central Division. Stupid. But I just, NHL, this is a spot they're hitting a home run, man. It's much better than the Metropolitans. It's better than the Washington Nationals. It's better than the Houston Texans. Really? Ugh. And then, the NBA had. As much as I like watching my basketball product, their most recent one was the Pelicans. And it's our state bird. A brown bird that fits a lot of fish in its beak. Matt, I will say in defense of, sometimes NHL is not perfect. How do you feel about the Red Wing name? Now, I don't think that anyone can debate how great our logo is, that classic red and white sweater. But, we just haphazardly went from, the Cougars and, the 30s to, the Falcons.
We're the Falcons, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, let's do an homage to the old bird. Let's I don't know why I'm turning into Fred Willard. Let's do an homage to the old bird. We'll get the whole gang together. We'll be not the claws or the beaks. We'll be my favorite part, the one you put in barbecue sauce. We'll be the wings. Let's be the Detroit Red Wings. When I think of Detroit, I think of just the flapping part of a bird.
I think it's pretty rare that you get to own a name that...
I thought you were going to say do a Fred Willard impression, but go ahead.
Well, you get to own a name that when you hear Red Wings, it's pretty clear what you're talking about. When you say Penguins, you might not be talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey team.
Could be a beloved polar bird.
Right. You could be going to the Detroit Zoo to check out their cool exhibit. So I think that's pretty cool. And that's something that we just pretty much said, this is what a Red Wing is it's a Detroit hockey team. So from that aspect, it's pretty sweet. I think the logo also is one of the most unique things in sports. And I'm not going to be the guy that's been a huge Red Wings fan his whole life that's going to sit there and go, oh, what's the deal? You've got a wheel and then a wing. What's that? No, it's fucking awesome. You've got the nods to the Motor City. everything about it is awesome, and it's so unique, and it just means Red Wings. Like that's what it is, and I love that idea. Like even the like the Golden Knights. It's still not just the Vegas Golden Knights. If you said Golden Knights out loud, like 95% chance you're talking about probably a 99% chance you're talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. But there's still like Knights, and there's gold, like they exist, but like Red Wings, like it's Red Wings. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I think
it's sort of that it's so tough to explain, and it's been around so long.
Let's do it this way. Like if you chose a tiger, you're picking it because a tiger is like a ferocious beast. So you're picking that affiliation with the animal.
Right.
Like the Red Wings basically created a thing. Like there aren't. My God, there goes a Red Wing right there.
Right.
Unless you're in Bloomfield Hills and Abdulkader drives by or something. But I guess what I'm saying is they created It's like they created the connotative and denotative definition of what a Red Wing is. So they, got in the lab and created their own entity. So that's kind of cool. I get where that's coming from.
So I do like I don't know. I'm always, obviously I'm biased, but I do think this is one of the best jerseys, one of the best logos, one of the best names in sports.
Yeah, I don't know if people think it's a little too like minor league sounding. Like a place where you can find mud hens and flying squirrels, and now we got the Kraken. I just know. I still love it. I can't wait to buy some swag.
Yep. The only thing I'm waiting for is right now their hats. When you wear them backwards, there's nothing there. So I'm waiting for like an NHL logo or something to go there, or like a picture of a Kraken.
Yeah.
A Kraken. Maybe if they don't, if they go the S on the front and then something neat on the back. Also,
speaking of the Kraken, Matt, you had a little refresher for us because they're gonna maybe rescue us from a little Franz Nielsen. But did you have some notes for us on the expansion draft?
Yeah, just a quick reminder of what's going on there. I mean, if you're listening to a Red Wings podcast, chances are you're pretty familiar with how these expansion drafts work. But teams can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goaltender, or 8 skaters and 1 goaltender. So I like this. 7 teams actually chose to do the 8 skaters and 1 goaltender back in 2017 with the Golden Knights expansion draft. Players with a no movement clause have to be protected. Clubs are required to expose at least 2 forwards and 1 defenseman who are under contract in 21-22 who played at least 40 games in 2021 or 70 games combined in 19-20, 2021. The exposed goaltender has to be under contract in 21-22 or be a restricted free agent in 21. Jesus, this is first and second year NHL players. All inside draft picks are exempt. So the quick examples I stole from the Free Press are Philip Zadina, Moritz Seider, Joe Veleno. We don't have to worry about them. And then just a reminder, in 2017, we put up Peter Mrazek, Luke Glendening, Darren Helm, Riley Sheehan, Xavier Ouellette. And
really a who's who of Red Wing prospects.
Yeah, the Golden Knights were so excited about those names that they took Thomas Nosek. Undrafted forward, and didn't do wasn't one of the game changers that the Golden Knights found. Like he wasn't one of those diamonds in the rough. So likely to be gone for the Red Wings. I think this is a pretty good list. That if you jump around the internet, Free Press, you've got what's going on in the Athletic. Everybody seems to be writing these articles, and these names are the ones that seem to pop up in everybody's list. But you've got Abdelkader, Christopher N., Adam Ernie, Taro Hirose, Franz Nielsen, Brandon Perlini, Timashov, and Dominic Turgeon on the forwards, Madison Bowie, Danny DeKaiser, Joe Hicketts, Kyle Wood for defensemen, and goalies. Honestly, I mean, Bernier's not even signed. We don't have a goaltender at that point that has a contract. So, I mean, is it worth? Our
don't even bother.
Prospects suck. Yeah, there's nothing there. So definitely not losing a goalie. I I would say if I were the Kraken, obviously, I mean, the Red Wings are going to get in some sort of discussion to take, two of the worst contracts in the league in Abdelkader and Nielsen. If that happens, we're losing a juicy draft pick. So I think I'm probably taking a shot with Timashov or Hirose. I think a similar thing to Thomas Nosek is probably happening at this expansion draft.
Well, at that point, Nielsen, won't he only have, 1 year left on his deal? So I thought it would just be a thing where potentially the Kraken, you have to have spend a minimum of the salary cap. So they might just, plug him in to, show some guys the ropes, like how to pack your travel bag, for the plane. We'll call it leadership because he's old. Maybe just put in, what is it, 5-6 million on the cap, and then move along, and then get rid of him the next season. I don't know if they're dying for Brendan Perlini, who didn't really do a ton for us.
Yeah, no, I mean,
they might take Taro.
You hope for that. I would say you hope for that. Like I just don't see. I don't know. There's got to be, and we haven't done any research around the league to see who else is going to be available. So we're only talking strictly from our perspective. I just think there has to be something better to fill out your cap than a Franz Nielsen or Justin Abdelkader. There's got to be. I mean, you could take Danny DeKeyser and to have a better shot at finding some success if he's actually going to be left available, and we're not going to protect him. That's the route I'd rather have Madison Bowie than those two guys, and wherever his contract is rolling around at that point. I think I'd rather take that shot and see if I can find something juicy before I, that's the draft pick has to come into play for those two guys to get moved. Now, the discussion online that we're having, just a quick note here, is I put out the question, how many draft picks will we have to negotiate away with Seattle to drop Nielsen or Abdelkader? Obviously, what happens online is people take that seriously right from the get-go because, I said first option 0. They seem like nice people. We actually have 14.3% of the vote went to that. And then a tie for almost for 28.6% for the other 3 options. 1 draft pick, our next 3 first-rounders, and then I said, for the 4th option, see above plus Larkin. So, with that, I was trying to kind of force the issue here that this was me kidding around. But we did get some pushback here that some people just don't see the point of trading away a draft.
No,
it
was mostly tongue-in-cheek. It was a symbolic gesture to get out from under those awful contracts.
But I do have to give a shout out to at Justin Meyer 1819 on Twitter here. Justin, I do love talking to you. I think once we wrap up here, I'll give you a response because he's also on board with as a rebuilder. I'm not trading away any of my draft picks. Justin, I gotta say, we're just messing around. We're not thinking about trading away Larkin and 3 first-rounders.
No,
just to drop Nielsen or Abdelkader. But
tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, I do hope that everybody who voted for that one had a good chuckle at it. All right, so moving right along. Mike, I guess really that's all we need to talk about in regards to new Red Wing news. Because I think we still want to save some of the draft conversation over the next 2.5 months.
Yeah, we got some time to talk about that for sure.
So, Mike, I think this is part of our favorite part of the show here. Ooh. Actually, I fucked it up again. All right, here we go. Matt has got to figure this out one of these days. So Matt is ready. Okay, Mike. I'm cutting it close, getting all this put together. As does the Lawnmower 3.0 cut you pretty close.
Comfortably close. Yeah, it's not like that was a close call. I almost lost the tip of my ding-dong. All right.
Yeah, no circumcisions with this thing. It knows what it needs to be cutting, and it's going to be cutting just your hair, and it's going to make you feel fine and dandy. But Mike, we've been talking about this thing for months, and it's because it really is top notch. Getting that area where the sun don't shine, nice and crisp and clean. And it's because it does have so many great features that you're not gonna get out of that shaver that you've kept hanging around in your bathroom just for these purposes of shaving down there, because you don't want to use the same one that's touching your face. You got to have a specific tool for this. And that's why Manscaped did develop the Lawnmower 3.0. It's a 3.0 because they're continuously trying to perfect this tool because they know how important that area is to you, Mike. But yeah, it's the 7,000 RPM motor. It's the LED light that's going to help shine that area I've mentioned where the sun don't shine. You've got that awesome charging stand so you can show off for anybody that's visiting. You know what? Matt is probably nice and cleaned up down there because he's got his Manscaped tools proudly showing in his bathroom. So whoever's coming over, now they know that you take care of that area. Now, if you want to take care of your area, you can get 20% off and free shipping by using the promo code THPN. That is in reference to the Hockey Podcast Network, in case you need help remembering that code. But it is promo code THPN at manscaped.com to get 20% off and free shipping. Again, 20% off free shipping your order, the Lawnmower 3.0, with promo code THPN, and you got to use it at manscaped.com. All right, Mike, quick local restaurant shout out. Ooh. I actually did finally get Black is Beautiful from Aberrant Ales. It takes some big cojones to be the main, I'm going to say the main brewery in Howell, Michigan, and make sure that you have your featured brew is a beer that is bringing awareness to social injustice and the inequality and trying to combat that. So Aberrant Ales, good job. The beer is amazing. All right, it's notes of coffee, dark chocolate, and chipotle peppers. God damn, is it a beautiful beer? I've got my tiny growler here. I've got the big growler still sitting in the fridge. But that is Aberrant Ales, if you guys are watching on YouTube. Again, this is not paid promotion. This is just me saying, for all the local restaurants out there that are struggling, and especially one that's got this great of a message with the product that they're brewing, hats off to you, Aberrant Ales. And I love the beer and a fantastic message.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Thai-Fi Restaurant. It's a local Thai over here in Ferndale. If you're thinking Thai, you think, let's go to Ferndale. It's not a big location, all right? It's maybe 2 tables, but you don't go in there to eat. You go in there to carry out, and that's what I did. I got this spicy Japanese-style rice dish with this garlic jalapenos. It was so spicy, it made my breath stink in a good way. And when you go in there, there's just hustle bustle. There's maybe 6-7 warm bodies back there making food. It's just constant traffic in and out. And it's because it tastes so good. So Thai-Fi Restaurant, if you're in the Ferndale area, beautiful. Oh, and their spring rolls don't taste frozen at all. You never know who's using the PF Chang's, frozen dinner box, but these are really good. So yeah, do yourself a favor.
Now that is a real shout out. All right, so Mike, let's do it. Pause here for a sec. Let's jump into the 2007 NHL Draft. Let's do a redraft here. Mike, I want you to start off here because I see some. I see some notes here that I just want you to describe the 2007 draft, how you see it, based on
professional wrestler,
game-changing
Slater,
hockey players. Yeah,
I'm a one-man band. Yeah, well, Heath Slater, he's no longer in the WWE. He's in Impact Wrestling, but Matt, this is a top-heavy draft, if I may. This was a Heath Slater draft. We had one megastar, Patrick Kane. Definitely talking about his talent, not his off-the-ice bullshit. But I think when we watch like the Lafreniere highlights, this is what we were hoping for our Red Wings, to get this kind of point a game scorer who just dominates the league. That's what this guy was. Is still. Turns out he's still active. But all the superlatives you could ever want from a forward. Hart Award winner, Ross Award winner, Conn Smythe winner. Calder, obviously, 3-time Cup winner. It's Patrick Kane. Because of him, the Blackhawks went from, hey, we got Taves. What a leader. So Jesus Christ, they're going to win all the time. That's what they've been doing. Right now, they're in a little bit of a retool, but because you have this, megastar on your team, it means you're going to be relevant every year that he's healthy and playing. So there were some other notable players, Matt, and I know you're going to touch on them. A certain little buddy from Dallas that we're going to touch on here, who's also our Datsuk Diamond in the Rough winner. But I think outside of Patrick Kane, in this year, you're either getting a pretty good defenseman or probably the guy Matt's going to mention momentarily.
So, wait a minute. This is the thing. This is what I wanted.
Here we go.
You wrote in the notes, don't give me that Jamie Benn bullshit. He sucked. That's fine. We're talking about building up your team.
I was just trying to grind your gears, Matt. That's all I was doing.
I mean, yeah, we'll throw in the Datsuk Diamond in the Rough here for Jamie Benn. I mean, he's drafted in the 5th round at 129th overall. He's a 3-time All-Star. He wins the Art Ross that we'd like to call. We'd like to change that name to the Bob Ross Trophy. I mean, he's still getting All-Star votes like up to 2018, and yes, he did have quite a bit of a fall the last couple of years. But I mean, you're talking about for a good little bit. I mean, a top tier player in the NHL, a guy that you've got to strategize your defensive strategy actually has to revolve around when he's on the ice. So I'd say that is game changer enough for me. But I mean, yeah, to continue the conversation for the draft overall. So I would say if you're looking at the 2 top game changers on this that are forwards, it doesn't necessarily start and end with Kane and Jamie Benn, but I mean those would be on my draft board if I'm looking for a forward, which is actually quite a few defensemen going in this draft that we'll go over in a minute here. But we've got 6 guys who've played 800 plus games, and I mean the definition of actually bringing that up as a point of conversation is just this idea that you're playing that many games, you're affecting your team in a positive way. It's not just you're not dragging around dog shit for that long. You've got to be making a positive impact either defensively or offensively or a combination of both. You're not bringing to the table like I'm a grinder who fights a lot and I take a lot of penalties. Like it's a lot more than that. So I think that's why we always tip our cap to that idea. But as we continue going along, the reason these numbers are going to keep dropping, because I think we had 12 guys with 800 plus games in the last draft, obviously just because they haven't played as many seasons. So eventually, we're going to have to change that number to how many games they've played to kind of define like who are the top tier guys in this coming out of this draft. But even still, I would still say for that number to be where it's at kind of defines why at the get-go when you first take a look at this draft, you start saying to yourself, wow, just like Patrick Kane is the only guy who, you're talking about every season is a point per game guy. And some of the other drafts that we've taken a look at, I mean, that's not the case. We've got a few guys that we can pick from and you can really change your team. And I guess the reason you bring that up is you just kind of cross your fingers and hope that this upcoming draft isn't going to be that result. And we're looking for more of those where Red Wings are picking 4th. Got to cross your fingers and hope that we're getting, hopefully 6 guys that are available that can really change your team and become point per game guys. But then that's the other part too, where we're trying to learn a little bit about what's going on in the draft. And when I say we, I mean my brother and I, trying to learn what's going on with these drafts, because would we poo-poo a Jamie Benn for a couple of years? Like a guy that from the start of his career and the end of his career, he's having trouble getting to like 50 points. And again, does that mean he's a terrible hockey player? No, it doesn't. But we are talking about a 4th pick in the first round. So to continue here, it's an absolute win getting him 129th. But is it good enough to get that guy who's going to be a 3-time All-Star and Art Ross one time in his career at 4? I'm going to say, Mike, based on what we've seen, I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say if we ended up getting a Jamie Benn for a few years out of this draft, I think that's kind of the realm that we're hoping for. We're not getting Patrick Kane this year. He's going number 1. All right.
No, I think it kind of sachets into our next category here, because I think with the Red Wings getting stuck at the 4th spot, you're not going to get the Patrick Kane, but you are going to maybe have an opportunity to be one of those scouting department winners. And Matt, it feels like every time we bring up this category, it's the same usual suspects who do a good job of assessing talent and drafting it. Maybe not retaining that talent into the ends of their careers, but they've been finding those pieces. So it's a spot where we talk about the Kings getting Tom Hickey, Wade Simmons, and we talk about longevity. You got Alec Martinez, Dwight King. All these guys hanging around in the league. You got Montreal Canadiens who, they really hit some defensive home runs here.
Hell of a draft, but as we go through these names.
Again, this is a big spot where, are they staying with the team? No, but that's not really how we're judging this. It's just whether or not you would take that team's picks.
But yeah, I mean, in one draft, Ryan McDonough, Max Pacioretty, and PK Subban. Boom. And getting McDonough and PK Subban before they even get to pick 50, like that's what Montreal was able to do. Does say a lot about the rest of the NHL for not, 44 picks, I think, going ahead of PK Subban getting picked up. Not good NHL. I mean, come on. and PK Subban right now, I think a lot of people like to give him shit because he really did fall off this past season. But, I mean, come on. Again, it's the same conversation as Jamie Benn. I mean, this guy is in the Norris conversation for, 8 straight years or 10 straight years.
It's literally just because of his contract. Because we're going to get to it in a minute. Like, the Red Wings defenseman that they picked instead of Subban, just, come on. You're really going to complain about Subban, and you could have, drafted Brendan Smith.
Right. Now, This is what I really liked was the San Jose Sharks. Logan Couture, 546 points in 715 games. But also, Nick Bonino and Justin Braun. You're getting 600 games out of, 600 games out of both for Bonino and Braun. But they were picked 173 and 201. Like, that is crazy to get, So the Sharks actually, even though we're calling them the winner, They grab Couture, and then it's just this big hole, and then at the bottom of their draft list, that's where the games played are. And then the St. Louis Blues, Lars Eller, Ian Cole, David Perron, all big picks here in this draft. I mean, for games played, and again, when you hear Steve Yzerman talking all the time that you want to land on 2 or 3 guys every draft. It's obviously not meaning he's trying to find Patrick Kane 2 or 3 times in the draft. He's looking to fill out a roster, and that's where you say which team won this, and also to say how very, very difficult it is to do what Steve Yzerman wants to do, because even though we do put the Montreal Canadiens out there for every week that we've done this, it feels like they're always at the top for these draft winners. You aren't going to do that every year. So there are going to be years where you become a scouting department loser. Ottawa Senators, 77-man games. New York Islanders, 11-man games. And the Boston Bruins, 23-man games. Just incredible that you go through an entire draft and get nothing out of it. Zero. There is no good to be had. Now, those guys could be we didn't look up every single pick for the Senators, Islanders, and Bruins, so they could have been moved and picked up with different assets later on for different draft picks. But at least from the sake of us saying the scouting department didn't know what the hell they were doing, I think we nailed it on this one because nothing came out of this draft for these three teams. Well,
it's just like with consistency. We talk about the Kings and the Canadiens. It was just the previous draft we did 06 and Boston was rocking and rolling, and then 1 year later just a giant turd. So I think it's really just an example of really hold Montreal's and Los Angeles's scouting departments in high esteem. So just want to give them a quick nod there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier. We're going to move on to the Datsuk Diamond in the Rough winner. Drafted at 129, so that's kind of the rule. Just the guy, kind of buried in the draft. There's really no debate that it was Jamie Benn. 3-time All-Star, Art Ross Award winner. It's still incredible that I don't know what happened to Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, and even Patrick Kane the year he won the Art Bob Ross Award. But strange things happen, and I just feel bad for Jamie, Matt, because the dude's rocking and rolling on the stat sheet.
Yeah,
and just as a cross example, if you look at Patrick Kane, he's basically been in the playoffs almost every single year. And poor Jamie, in his 11-year career, only 3 times has he been in the playoffs. In Dallas, it just hasn't really amounted to anything of substance. So just kind of rough for them. So I don't know if we want to start, with a fine-tooth comb and kind of seeing what the hell's Dallas doing with their drafts every year, because good thing they got Jamie. They lucked into him at 129.
Right.
Because they have not had a lot of success building up their team into, a Stanley Cup winner or even competitor. Matt, one more category I like to do here is the Yuri DePito Award, which really bums me out that we might have to retire it because we used to get, 29-year-old Yuri DePito drafted.
I say we should have retired it like 3 drafts ago, but
Yuri lives on. We're never going to forget Yuri DePito. But, man, we had 2 long in the tooth 21-year-olds this year. Robert Dietrich, who, he never quite panned out. He was too old at 21. And Johan Harju, Matt, who played a whopping 10 NHL games, 10 more than the 2 of us combined. Wow.
That's true.
So, 2 21-year-olds. Those were our old grandpas in the draft. And then, Matt, you got a couple good boys for us? Well, one bad boy, I guess, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, the good boy award is who plays well and sticks around with one team. We'll kind of see what happens with. I'm gonna say all of these guys have some potential to maybe jump around a little bit here, but Patrick Kane, Jamie Benn again comes up, and Logan Couture coming up again. So again, these guys, we like to say they perform well. And they stick around with one team. They have those options to move about, but we know all the trouble that Patrick Kane's contract caused for the Chicago Blackhawks. So we know that he's sticking around, or that he stuck around, I should say. But yeah, it's pretty rare to see these guys with these immense talent, the immense level of talent, stick around with one team. So I think it's pretty notable whenever we see these guys play well. They could definitely collect more on the free agent market, but they decide to stick around. I think that's to see like John Tavares move and to see those giant contracts. I mean, the numbers probably could be different, and what the NHL decides to do with their salary cap. I know this year's different because of COVID, but things probably could have changed if we could have larger salary caps if these players were more likely to test the free agent market, these top tier guys, because there'd be more cash going around, and I don't know, it's weird for the NHL, but those are the good boys. They stick around. They know I guess how to play the NHL game. You gotta team first, all that baloney. Anyway, Red Wings pick up Mike, as you mentioned earlier. Who did we draft instead of PK Subban, instead of Ryan McDonough? Mike, we picked up Brent. Well, I guess we I got to take that.
I just like the way you pose that because it sounds like the end of the year interview that the owner should have done with our GM. So tell me again, who did we draft instead of Supan? Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Who did we take?
It was Brendan Smith.
Who?
Brandon Smith. No, who?
Okay, what's his resume? Have you seen Supan? What's Brandon's resume?
Which we did collect a first rounder, trading him away. So that did actually turn out pretty good.
Thank God there's another team dumber than us.
I do like Joachim Anderson in here because he did score against the Chicago Blackhawks in the playoffs.
Yeah, take that, Chicago. Right there. Yeah,
that was fun. So I kind of like that name. I will always remember. That was one of those names that when you're playing the NHL video game, I always, he turned out to have a much better career than he really did because, you got to play with the roster that the game gives you, and it just so happens everybody's like a point per game player on my team. So his overall starts to jump, and then you've got some trade bait. All right, Mike, I think we did it. We did a good job summing up this 2007 NHL draft, which we have noted on here.
I have two of them.
6. Mike?
This is the 2006-7. This is the 2007 draft.
So, we did have some confusion actually at the start of the show trying to lock down what year we were actually on.
What year? Yeah, it's because of COVID. We don't know what day it is. We don't know what year it is. It's not our fault. Yeah.
Mike, do you want the easy first pick for this one as we do our redraft of the 2007 draft?
Well, I think I had number 1 last time. I'll give you number. You had number 1 for the last 2007 draft, or I did. Now you can have it for this 2007 draft. Take it away, man. Who's going number 1?
All right. I mean, it's easy peasy. Patrick Kane still sticking around with the Blackhawks. So the Blackhawks still based on our world, the Brothers of Discussion NHL universe. The cinematic NHL universe, Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews are still together with the Chicago Blackhawks. I think we did that in the last. Anyway, Mike, you've got the Flyers who took Van Riemsdyk, a left winger.
Yeah, I really got my choice of the litter here because it was basically Patrick Kane, the one-man band, or we kind of go into the depth of these defensemen here a little bit, but. I'm really a fan of, Pretty Little Trees, Throw a Little Pretty Little Bird. Give me the Bob Art Ross Award winner. Jamie Benn goes number 2. I think you get a little more consistency, than what Philly got originally. You get a leader, Matt. He got Hart Trophy votes. He, did lead the league one time in points. Good for him. And he's got to fare a little bit better playoff-wise, escaping the doldrums of Dallas and going to Philadelphia. But you sounded like your voice was hitting some high notes. Matt, you've got something to add.
I mean, I hope we've painted a pretty enough picture of Jamie Benn that nobody's like rolling their eyes at this pick, because I hope it's more obvious than I mean that's what I would have done. So I like I said, I get the easy pick with Patrick Kane, but number 2 seems easy to me too. So does number 3, because I still think it's important to keep drafting along the lines of like the best guy available. And again, I think you brought up the better point that I think he gets a lot of flack for the size of his contract and how tough he's been to move around or what needs to be given up to pick him up. But at number 3, you've got to take the guy. I mean, I'm looking at it right now from 2012 to 2018. The guy's getting Norris Trophy votes. But it's PK Subban. He was one of my favorite players. I mean, I can't say he's not now. It's one of those things where I don't want him on the Red Wings now. But but absolutely for the Coyotes, I'm taking him at number 3. I'm not playing the game of sticking around with what the Coyotes were drafting at the time. I think that you get a PK Subban, or you have an opportunity to get a guy that has that good of a career trajectory, that you've got to go in that direction. So PK is going to Arizona.
that moves us right to the Kings, Matt, who actually did draft a defenseman the first time around. And I'm going to help him out a little bit. I'm going to get a guy who Montreal, we're just going to pillage Montreal's brain trust. That's what we're going to do. A guy who never actually played for them. He got drafted by the Canadiens, but, ultimately just played, most of his career for the Rangers, and now he's a Lightning. Ryan McDonough.
This is fun. This is lining up right in order of my draft board.
He was, part of a Rangers rejuvenation where they're actually relevant in playoff games. McDonough was actually rocking and rolling. I want to throw out his 2013-14 playoff numbers just because the dude, he got the 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points for a defenseman. Pretty impressive. And the Rangers had a pretty deep run that year, going 25 games. So pretty cool to see that.
I'll say that was pretty deep.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I don't think anyone.
You can't really get any deeper.
Yeah,
you really can't get any deeper than what the Rangers did.
He's not really an award winner, but I just in this draft, I don't know if you want a pretty good forward or one of the best defensemen. So I'm going to take McDonough. Kind of boost the Kings. I don't think they're going to complain about that.
No, it's the same. It's almost the exact same case for PK Subban. So with him, you're getting Norris Trophy votes from 2012 to 2017. So it just adjusts by a year, and then he's playing so well with the Tampa Bay Lightning last year that he jumped back into that Norris conversation in 2018, 2019. So this is a guy that didn't that he avoided the drop off that we saw PK Subban take for the last 2 years, and at least put it off one more year because this past season the numbers aren't so great. But anyway, again, we're drafting not for the guy that's going to be great in 2019, 2020, but who's going to have that great career overall. All right, so where were we? We are doing. You drafted
Capitals.
For the Kings. All right, Capitals took Carl Alzer. He's
Machine
a
Gun Carl Alzer.
I'm gonna go away from my draft board here, and I think, let's see. I since I'm breaking it up, like really I should just go down the list and say, all right, if so and so got picked up, then I should go with this next guy on my list. But I don't know if I want to just mix it up a little, but no, okay, I'll stick with the draft board. I'm going with Kevin Shattenkirk. I think, again, this is like the same exact conversation with what we were just doing with McDonough and PK Subban. Norris Trophy votes starting in 2012, kind of continually getting Norris votes, at least a few, up until 2017. And again, if I am going to play that game, like I said, I'm trying to match where the Capitals were going at the time, and I think this really does this really does help. And they get Shattenkirk how many years before they actually bring him over? So 10 years before. So 10 years before Shattenkirk's gonna go over to Washington and see if they can get one more cup over that span. But yeah, it's a guy that if you're looking at that whole career, you don't get Norris Trophy votes because you suck. So is he winning them? No, but he's getting those trophy votes because he is a solid defenseman, and we also know that you're getting Norris trophies because you're leading all defensemen in points. So it's a different conversation there. But Shattenkirk is still solid, and I think there's still one more solid defenseman to go on my draft board, and I thought about taking him right here, but I'm gonna stick with Shattenkirk at number 5.
That brings us to Edmonton, the Oilers, who took Sam Gagner, Matt. Red Wing fans know him pretty well because he's played 6 games for us.
Woo!
At the ripe age of 30. He's still a guy I feel like I have stock in. Like, man, what a prospect. But then you remember, oh, shit, he's 30 years old. We're running out of time to pan out here. So what we're going to do is get really a beacon of health, consistency, But dude, getting some points. Give me Jakub Voracek. Originally taken by the Flyers. The dude has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons where he basically played almost the entire season. You are not going to complain about that. If you're going to pay these guys, you'd like to see them on the ice, ideally. He's not really like totally blowing you away with points, but he's got a couple 80 point seasons under his belt. One-time All-Star, and I got to think, the Oilers, if they're going in the time machine, there was the opportunity for Gagne to pan out, and it's just, his body hasn't quite cooperated like they'd like, and Voracek is going to give you that consistency. So I think they'll be happy. A little different position, obviously, but you're getting the number 2, point man from 07. So I don't think they're going to be too upset about this.
Yeah, and this probably, we might be guilty here of overvaluing some of the defensemen, but I still like the direction that we went in with this, and for him to drop to 6, I think I think it's still pretty reasonable for this draft. I think there's probably some folks out there that would put Voracek a little bit sooner. You take a look at who was drafted and some wingers moving, like maybe you put him closer there, but all right. So I'm taking number 7, where Voracek originally went with the Blue Jackets. I am going to at least let the idea that the Blue Jackets went forward to influence this next pick, because this guy, I actually have him number 5 on my draft board. And part of it is because he's a center. He's also a great. Am I breaking up your draft board?
You son of a.
He's a great two-way forward. This is a guy who's getting Selke votes pretty much his entire career, even up last year. So again, I'm making the argument: can we really define here like what is a top defenseman based off of analytics? I think there's a way you can make the argument. Like, possession statistics are up there, but is there more to it? And I would make the argument, yes. So the same thing with a Selke. You can take a look at like takeaways, and that's how Pavel Datsyuk would win all those Selkes. But ultimately, there's a lot of the eyeball test that goes into Selke voting, and I wish there was more eyeball tests that went into Norris voting. Ultimately, it's just points. But to get back onto Couture, who I'm drafting here, and to actually talk about him, those Selke votes have started in 2011. And went all the way up to last season. And it's no secret that Couture is a two-way player. But this is also a guy that's going to get up there in points. And as he takes more responsibility for the Sharks, we saw the 70-point season. 39 points in 52 games in the past season isn't anything to sneeze at either. So this is a guy who's still rather productive as he goes over that hump of 27, 28, where we actually start to see production drop in NHL players. So, yeah, give me Logan Couture.
Solid pick.
Thank you very much.
The Sharks are like, damn it, we wanted him, because that's who they picked at number 9. What we're gonna do is still get the Sharks a pretty good piece here.
Wait. You've got the Bruins at number 8.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm still gonna same player. We're still doing Max Pacioretty. As far as like getting points, not a guy not blowing you out of the water, but he just had a lot of consistency. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5, 6 seasons in a row, getting 60 plus. One of my favorite awards, getting the Masterson for leadership, sportsmanship. Love that kind of stuff. And he played, we're getting to this point of the draft where you're either getting a pretty solid defenseman or you're getting a forward who's there for leadership and some points, not guys blowing you out of the water. As this show has a sweet spot in its heart for people who at least get votes for Lady Bang, Max is one of those guys. So you're getting a gentleman, you're getting a leader, you're getting a sportsman. And damn it, he's still getting you 60 points. It's not just the intangibles. He is on the stat sheet. So yeah, we're gonna help out the beloved Sharks there with a nice leader in Max. So there you go.
I mean, to me, it's a great pick. I think Pacioretty really does change.
Why do I say the Sharks? It's the damn Bruins. Jesus, Michael.
Oh yeah. But I really do think like Pacioretty makes a huge difference for the Vegas Golden Knights, and I think that was like a perfect pickup for them. So
I'm pretty jealous of that.
Yeah, I'm all about Pacioretty going there. He was on my draft board at that spot too. So all right, so now I've got the Sharks, Mike.
I just really like sharks. I'm sorry, I really just like the animal.
Well, what I'm gonna do. I think it might be nice for me to just leave this guy at number 10 for you because he would match, or the position that the Panthers were taking at the time. I just wonder if I say that, if you're gonna do it. I don't know. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. The Sharks at number 9. They're gonna get Wayne Simmons. I'm gonna drop down one spot on my draft board. Wayne Simmons is going over to the Sharks. I think this is a guy that throughout his career he's winning awards like the community changing awards. This is the guy that Wayne Simmons becomes a marquee name on your team, and the Sharks are ones now that have are lucky enough to have an outspoken individual like Evander Kane as well. So I love the idea of having Wayne Simmons on your team for so many different reasons, but what can't be ignored is that this is also another strong two-way forward, and at the top, how do we want to put this? At the best points of his career, he was still topping out at 60 points. And when we're trying to find those guys as we move down the draft, not everybody. We only had the one guy that was point per game every season. So we're trying to find points where we can get them, and that's where Wayne Simmons is going to be. He's going to be making a difference for your team in so many different ways. And I do like the aspect too of him coming over to the West Coast, and I think I don't know. It just seems like we can send a better message. That's where Gary Bettman's always trying to send messages. Is he starts out in the West Coast. And then tries to build it from there. But I like this idea of Wayne Simmons going out there, maybe having what do I want to say? A better platform for him to send like the messages that he's been sending through the NHL, that hockey is for everyone, for his entire career. So maybe he does have that better platform. The Sharks, as we know from this draft, go and have a lot of success. So no cups, but I mean, is it really an unsuccessful team when you're in the conversation for Western Conference Finals year after year after year? No. So yeah, put Wayne Simmons on that team. Let's see what happens.
All right, that brings us to the last pick of our redraft here. It's the Panthers, who originally took Keaton Ellerby. So they're just asking the Brothers of Discussion on the Discussion 5. Literally any type of value, we'll take it. For the love of God, please. Give us an upgrade. It's going to be pretty easy to do, Matt. Here's what I'm going to do. One of the awards that you hold in high esteem is the Good Boy Award. This player he doesn't meet the criteria of a good boy. He played in St. Louis, about 6.
Did you think he did?
No, I didn't. He played about 6 years. Then he kind of popped around the league. He had some cups of coffee in Edmonton, Pittsburgh, Anaheim. Actually went back to St. Louis. Played in Vegas. But Matt, ultimately, he came back home. And that's what a good boy is all about. He came back home and won him a goddamn Stanley Cup. Matt, give me David Perron at number 10. Because I think he's much like his shadow in Homeward Bound. He came home and that was the big victory. So we let him off the leash for a little bit. He got into some adventures, got stuck in a pit of mud, and then he came back and won you Lord Stanley's Cup. He's a guy. He's got a couple 82 game seasons under his belt. Again, it's 2007. We're not going to have guys who have tons of numbers. Never an all-star, but playoff contributor, Stanley Cup winner, long career. You can't really be upset with Perron. So I like saying his name. I like his resume winning-wise. And the Panthers would love to have a guy leave and come back and win a Stanley Cup. for them. So, Matt David Perron at number 10.
See, now the guy I was leaving there for you was Jake Muzzin, so I'm kind of sad he didn't make it out of this draft. But, burpees. All right, yeah, we're done. All right, so that was pick 10. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Check out the Brothers of Discussion on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe, rate, and review. If you do have a moment, even if you're not listening on Apple Podcasts, and then it really does help. The subscriptions on YouTube do help quite a bit. And then find us on Twitter and all of our meant to be funny tweets about trading draft picks to get rid of Franz Nielsen and Abdelkader. Again, folks,
At all costs.
Not really don't take that one too seriously. We're definitely not trading away 3 straight years of first-round draft picks and Dylan Larkin just to make sure that Franz Nielsen is off the team. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good week.
Bye.
Hi everybody, this is Matt Klink of the Brothers of Discussion, reminding you that you can find the Brothers of Discussion at bodpodcast.com, brothersofdiscussion.com. Find us on Twitter at bodpodcast, and of course we are bringing you content every Thursday, if not during every Monday Night Raw, every NXT show, every AEW Dynamite, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view, every major show happening in the United States. The Brothers of Discussion are covering it, so if you want good wrestling coverage, come to the Brothers of Discussion. Thanks, everybody.